Thank you, Dr. Matthews, for that gracious introduction. But I'll tell you what, the older I get, the more those introductions start to sound like something else, if you know what I mean, obituaries. Provost Davis, Dean Malin, fellow faculties, ladies and gentlemen, but most importantly, class of 2014. I'd like to add my welcome to you on this so very special occasion. I'm deeply honored that you should invite me to speak to you on this, the most significant academic ceremony of your life, and I thank you for the opportunity. Please allow me to preface my remarks with something very personal. Dr. Mims Gage Oxner Jr. was a longtime dear friend of mine. He was a fellow surgeon, chief of trauma surgery and critical care, chairman of the Department of Surgery, an undisputed leader in trauma surgery throughout this country, and father of one of today's graduates. He was well known and highly respected by members of this graduating class. Cancer took Gage from us at too young an age, far too soon, just 1 year ago. With so many more students yet to teach, so many more lives yet to touch, so many more of his talents yet to give. When he was diagnosed, the major concern he expressed to me was his desire to see his sons graduate from medical school. He may not be here with us today in body, but I know he's here with us in spirit. I know that he would not miss this event that he held so special. So with Dr. Oxner in mind, I speak to you today, knowing what you're about to hear would echo his thoughts and feelings for this class. My words are for you, but I'd like to dedicate this address to his memory. You know, when I thought back on my own medical school graduation address, I realized that not only did I not remember any of the content of the speech, I couldn't even remember who the speaker was. Now, I'm sure that he, like me, was some white-haired old man speaking on a topic I didn't really care about, taking up that requisite 15 minutes of that much-anticipated time until I held that long-awaited MD degree in my hand. You know what? I really don't care. If 30 years from now you don't remember that I was your speaker today, but I do want you to remember the content of what I'm about to tell you, and I want you to take it with you every day of your career. The Affordable Care Act is a timely topic, most worthy of a medical school graduation speech, but I know you don't want to hear about that now. And to be truthful, I don't want to speak about something so political. The impact of the digital technology revolution on the healthcare delivery system is a topic that may well be of interest to you, but that's too impersonal a subject for an old school surgeon like me, and I don't want to speak about that either. What I really want to speak to you about today is a topic not technological, not political, but one that's philosophical in its message, and one that you should remember and take with you for the rest of your career. I want to tell you about the privilege of the profession that you're about to enter. You know, while preparing for this talk, I thought, what can I possibly say that would get your attention and be meaningful to you? What can I possibly say that would have a lasting impact and not be soon forgotten as just another speech you had to suffer through? Which words would make you understand and even feel the importance of this moment? And then it occurred to me that perhaps you got up this morning, got dressed, and came to this place like it was just another day. Oh, sure, you knew it was graduation day. You knew it was special. But by the end of the afternoon, it'll all be over. And you'll think it's just one of those necessary mile markers that you pass on your life journey. But hear me now, and be assured, today is not just any other day. Today, after at least 20 long years of academic preparation, you finally step out of the protected comfort of the classroom and begin your entry into the profession and practice of clinical medicine. The future, your future, starts today. As the Roman poet Manlius told us, Fini origine pendent, the beginning foretells the end. So as you're about to take your first step, let me remind you why you are here and what responsibilities you take on today. Grade school, high school, college, medical school, now here you are, about to graduate medical school and into your residencies. You made it. And I want you to realize how lucky you are to be so young, so intelligent, so fortunate to have made it here. There are so many others that would give just about anything to sit where you sit today. So now it's up to you. Use your gifts and use them to impact others. As the great physician Sir William Mercer once said, we are here to add what we can to life, not to get what we can from life. In the end, it's not the money, it's not the title, it's not the status, it's not any of that. You'll see that in the end, the thing that will give you the greatest professional satisfaction will be your interactions and relationships with your patients. You know, my dream of becoming a doctor began when I was a 19-year-old Air Force medic stationed in Montgomery, Alabama, on my way to a war in Southeast Asia. I walked into an operating room for the first time, and I knew from that moment I had no choice. I had to be a surgeon. And after discharge, I did what I had to do to make that dream come true. Each of you is also highly motivated. Each of you had a noble dream, and you've done what you had to do to get here, and you should be rightly proud of that. And now, finally, the 4 long years of long and sleepless nights, the anxiety of self-doubt, the uncertainty of the match are behind you, and you've come to this special moment in your life. Here you are, about to graduate medical school. You should be rightly proud of that. But up until now, your only goal has been your own self-interest. Think about it. Your goal has been for you to pass the exam, for you to get a degree, for you to graduate medical school, but today you take on the real responsibility of not your own self-interest, but rather that of your patient's well-being. Your own professional development truly begins today. No longer can just a grade on the exam be the end point. You will become part of a team that is literally responsible for someone else's very life. Now, what I just said is not hyperbole, nor is it overly dramatic. For us, it's an everyday truth. You will be responsible for someone else's life. You haven't felt it yet, and it may take you some time, but eventually you'll come to realize that the practice of medicine is not a trade to be learned. The practice of medicine is a calling, and it must be practiced with both your head and your heart. You know, when one is young and healthy like you and perhaps never experienced a serious illness, it's difficult to understand the emotional and physical impacts of disease. Most of us pass through this life as if our days on this earth are endless. But when illness threatens, this immortality complex that we all share is soon replaced by the awesome possibility of death. You should know there is no more frightening experience than to be ill, oftentimes afraid your very life may end, to be in the hands of total strangers in a large complex building far from home, and then the patient is asked to place his total trust and well-being in the physician that attends to him. You should constantly keep in mind to honor that trust. You should constantly keep in mind that your patient is not a temperature curve, not a set of abnormal laboratory values, not just another gallbladder operation. He or she is a frightened human being suffering from disease and uncertainty, and you must care for both. Always remember, the best patient care comes from actually caring for the patient. Your patients must give over you their free will and trust, and it's indeed too much to ask of anyone. And yet we ask it of them almost casually. And when they give it, it's usually with an immediate blind leap of faith. And when they give it, what they want from us in return is simply 3 things. They want us not to harm them. They want us to heal them. And they want us to be kind to them. They tell us secrets they're afraid to share with anyone else. They allow us to use drugs and procedures on them that could potentially kill them as well as cure them. They trust us with their very lives. Never, ever forget that. They will change you. I can still see the terrified, pleading eyes, looking up at me from a young man with a terrible broken neck as his life ended in that ICU bed. The giving Christian life of a shopkeeper who was robbed and shot, and I couldn't save him, changed me. The courage of a strong, courageous woman with ovarian cancer somehow made me better. They all have a story to tell. So when the time comes, stop, take a breath, sit down, spend some time talking with your patient, and find a personal connection, because it's in those indispensable moments that the real healing begins. To care and not know is dangerous, but to know and not care is completely unacceptable and immoral. When the door to that exam room closes, when pretension and status is meaningless and it's left outside in the hall, when outcome depends upon the unvarnished truth, it's then that the instant giving and receiving of trust between patient and physician is born. Taking on that trust is the preeminent privilege of being a doctor. In your residency training years, you'll become involved in almost every human condition known. The eyes of your souls will begin to be opened. The depth of your humanity will start to be searched. Your tact will be tested by 1,000 secrets. You will bear witness to the somber evidence that man's inhumanity to man has no limit. You'll know those whose urge towards self-destruction is single-minded and never-ending, but through it all, you must rise above this cloud of confusion and become the link between patient and health. The physician is the master link between the patient and health. Realize it, feel it, rise up to your calling and become it. As you become more and more skilled, more and more specialized, more and more dependent upon technology and science, always remember your humanity should overshadow all of those. And never forget that no one really cares how much you know until they know how much you really care. Your residency training years will be demanding, I'll guarantee you that. But when there's a choice between just getting by or excelling, if you want to make a real difference in this life, then focus on the goal. Give it your unbridled best, and success will be yours. Success is sweet, and it fattens our ego. But in patient care, success is limited by our knowledge and our capabilities. And success will be denied by the inevitable process of dying and death. And it's during these trying times that you'll come to realize that sometimes listening is more important than speaking. And the transformative power of an understanding touch is better than any drug ever made. What you are will be more important than what you know. That white coat you wear defines your profession, but your compassion will define your character. And in the end, it will characterize your career. You know, the changes in healthcare delivery that are occurring will cause you to make many critical decisions about your practice and your life. I want you to pledge here today to resist the destructive, eroding temptation of materialism in all your decisions, clinical or financial. Place your patient's interest uppermost and thereby stay true to yourself and to your profession. Always remember, we're in the business of patient care, not the patient care business. For all the years that follow, hold fast to those ideals and reasons that brought you to this place today. You know, I wish you all wonderful discoveries, endless opportunity, forever friendships. Today, your life history is completely altered. In just a few minutes from now, you're going to walk across this very stage, and your first name will forever change from John or Jennifer to Doctor. And from that moment on, I want you to understand and I want you to remember every day of your career, it's a privilege to be in this profession. I want you to understand and I want you to remember every day of your career with that concept of privilege. comes the mandate of responsibility. Today, you will soon stand and swear a solemn oath of ethical service to your fellow man. And when you do, you'll raise your hand, and by so doing, you'll be reaching back to pick up the ancient staff of Asclepius. You'll stand beside Hippocrates. You'll step inside the circle of science of the Brotherhood of Lister, Salk, and Halstead. And you'll walk behind mentors and leaders like Oxner, who is the exemplification of ethical care. So when you take that oath, don't just say those words. Feel your tradition. Commit to your promises. And think of your future. Young men and young women of the class of 2014, if you haven't yet, it's now time to grow up. The United States Army says be the best you can be, and I say be better than the best you've ever been, and start today. Don't you see? It's time. It's your time. Do it for yourself. Do it for that family back there that stands behind you and loves you. But most importantly, do it for your future patients. And do it today, because today is not just another day. Today is the day that you accept the responsibility and you're given the privilege of being called doctor. Once again, I appreciate the opportunity to be with you today, and thank you so much for your attention.